Meet the only man alive that thinks Adolf Hitler, the monster that we know, is a great guy. Pulled on a full Elon Musk, but with words this time.
Because I honestly think that Hitler was a good guy based upon my own research, not my public education indoctrination. I really do think before Hitler got on meth, he was a guy to go fishing with. He fought for his country. He wanted to purify it by kicking the greedy Jews out that were destroying his country and turning them all into gays. They were gaying out the kids. They were queering out the women. They were queering out the dudes. They were, you know what her first tranny surgery ever was? Happened to be in Germany before Hitler took over. You know the books that everybody makes fun of Hitler burning? You know what the books was? Queer books. Hitler burned queer books because Hitler didn't want a bunch of queers destroying his nation. They can't produce children.
But what
Oh my God! Drug test him now!
And this is probably the fastest that Dana has ever addressed something like this. He absolutely buried Bryce Mitchell.
I'm out here, have fun doing Power Slap tonight. And I'm sure you guys heard what Bryce Mitchell said. If you haven't, he said some probably, I've heard a lot of dumb, ignorant shit in my day, but this one's probably the worst. When you talk about Hitler, he was responsible for the death of 6 million Jews, and he tried to completely eliminate a race of people. World War II was the deadliest war in history. 15 million military deaths, 45 million civilians, and 25 million soldiers were killed in World War II. Second of all, Hitler is one of the most disgusting and evil human beings to ever walk the face of the earth. And anyone that even tries to take an opposing position is a moron. That's the problem with the internet and social media. You provide a platform for a lot of dumb, ignorant people. We've obviously reached out to Bryce, and when we read what he said and let him know how we feel about it, we're beyond disgusted. So, for those of you that don't know what's going on, good, you're lucky. For those of you that do, that's what I have to say about it. Let's not forget that this is a guy who took a drill through his nutsack, then had to reverse it and put the drill back out of his. That's the level of stupid that we're talking about here. And I could probably go on for 10 minutes talking about how dumb Bryce Mitchell is. But guess what? Bryce Mitchell has a podcast.
I believe this was episode 1.
Go.
Now, this isn't the first thing that Bryce has said that was totally out of left field. He said many other stuff about school shootings. He said Earth is flat conspiracies. He's the first ever fighter to hold a Bible while being introduced by Bruce Buffer. So this isn't out of the ordinary for a guy of Bryce Mitchell's caliber. And as for Adolf Hitler, I don't need to explain the badness that he's done in his life, so I'm not going to go throughout that entire portion of history, because you should know just how dark and how much of a monster that man was. And if you think Bryce issued an apology, you bet your ass he did. He said, "I'm sorry I sounded insensitive. I definitely was not trying to offend anybody, but I know I did. I know that a lot of people died in the Holocaust, and that's a fact. Hitler did a lot of evil things. I think we can all agree on that. I'm definitely not a Nazi, and definitely do not condone any of the evil things that Hitler did." Now, Sean Strickland and Brendan Schaub aren't supporting Bryce and what he said about Hitler, but what they're saying is that he's a byproduct of this media, the media that has all the conspiracy theories about anything and everything, basically saying that the niche on his phone, on his Instagram, his X, his Facebook is filled with stuff like this. And there are many people that believe stuff that Bryce said to a T. Basically, if you go under his apology post, you will see so many people supporting not only Bryce, but his ideology and what he said about Hitler. It is absolutely insane that anybody can be on his side when it comes to him saying those type of things. I can't believe it, but hey, that's the world we live in. And I will chop it up to, he's a kid from Arkansas, not much goes on where he's from. He basically believes anything and everything under the sun, like many people do on social media. So again, I'm disgusted by it myself, and the whole free speech thing that Dana is saying is really bugging a lot of people because he sounded disgusted. He said he was disgusted by what Bryce said, but yet he's openly gonna put Bryce into a fight where someone's gonna whoop his ass. That's what he said. Now, is that the answer? It is when Dana's a guy that prides himself on free speech. So I think that's what's gonna happen next. The UFC's not gonna punish him. The UFC's not gonna take away his next purse for the fight that he has next. It's just gonna be Bryce is gonna fight. Hopefully it's going to be a favorable matchup for his opponent to where we do see Bryce get fucked up. But in the end, just go watch the Josh Emmett KO because that KO seemed to do a lot to Bryce's mental health.